Hey friends, so today we are going to make a... What are we making? Hey friends, so today we are making a Valentine box with Cricut Maker and our knife blade. And we're going to use some really darling designs that are already available in Cricut Access. If you don't have Cricut Access, I'm going to put a link down below for you to check it out. I promise you it's worth the money. You'll be so glad you did. You are crafting with Kim Byers at the Celebration Shop, and I'll meet you in Design Space. Okay, so here we are in Cricut Design Space. So I've opened up a new project and I brought in a couple of these fun little elements that I wanted to use on my Valentine box. But one thing I want to show you, and by the way, this cute guy is available in Cricut Access. If you don't have Cricut Access, these are also Cricut Access. I'm going to put a link down below this project for you guys to have a look at it. But these other items here are actually just shapes. And so what I did is I wanted to have an open face box on the back of my cactus, because you guys know that Valentines can get kind of big, and I'm one of those people that do it. I give away little fun things like gum or suckers and different things with the Valentine, and so the Valentines can get kind of bulky. So I wanted an open box to put behind it. Now you might want to do a rectangle that's standing on its end, that it's open in the top, that's tall like the cactus. But again, I wanted something that was more like a tissue box in the back. So what this is this back piece is going to be chipboard, and then this front piece is going to be the paper that wraps around the chipboard. And then this guy is made out of chipboard and felt, and so these pieces here are too, and they are going to embellish the front of the box. And I didn't find a box that I was completely in love with that was already in Design Space, so I actually went over and used the shape tool, and I just used squares. So I thought I would show you this real quick. I just used squares to make my box. So if you bring in a square and you unlock it, you can resize it to anything you want. So that's how I did that. And the big thing is to make sure that you know, your sides match up, and then your paper, when you do your paper on top of it, you'll notice that my long pieces here are longer than these pieces here because I wanted it to cover the edges. But you're welcome to use this box for any shape you want to. The great thing about this concept is you could put a monster truck on the front of this, a unicorn on the front of this, you could put a unicorn monster truck on the front of this, anything that you want to make. Okay, so now that you've seen our cute little cactus, and I did add the little heart just because I wanted it to be very Valentine-y. All of these pieces, we can go ahead and make them or send them to Matt, but I want to take you back over to my craft table and show you the supplies. Okay, so let me show you what's on my craft table. So I have my Cricut Maker. I have 3 different Cricut products. I have my heavy chipboard, I have felt, and I have a deluxe paper sampler. I also have a couple of sheets of solid cardstock. I have a strong grip mat and a standard grip mat, some masking tape, a glue gun, and then I have a knife blade, my rotary blade, and in my machine I have my standard blade that came with the machine. So for the knife blade, I'm going to use that with my heavy chipboard. The rotary blade is for my felt, and my standard blade will be for my paper. Back in Design Space, and we're going to send our materials to Matt. Okay, so we select Make It, and it starts to sort everything. I wanted to show you here, these gray black mats are going to be your chipboard. This pink one is a felt. This red one is a paper. Felt, and paper. So I like to start with my knife blade just because it takes a little bit longer, and it depends on the cut that you're doing, something very intricate or something not so much. Now this cactus took about 10 minutes, and it does have this little flowerette here with it, and I'm just going to move it up underneath the cactus arm because I like to save as much material as possible. And I would move it here, but if you recall, chipboard is only 11 by 11, so I'm kind of pushing the envelope there with that arm, but it's only 11 by 11, and so I want to make sure that it doesn't run off the chipboard and then damage my knife blade. Okay, so the other two look pretty good, and we're going to go ahead and select continue. My maker is already attached. If yours is not, then this is when you're going to do it. And remember, guys, when you're using knife blade, you have to use your computer. You cannot do knife blade from mobile. So make sure that you hook up your computer, you hook it up to your maker, and work from there for this project. Okay, so now I already have heavy chipboard as a favorite. If you didn't, you would just browse all materials to get your chipboard. Okay, so we're going to select chipboard, and then you get all the reminders about what to do with chipboard, moving your star wheels all the way to the right, strong grip mat, taping it down. So that is what we're going to do next. So for cutting chipboard, you need 4 things. You need a strong grip mat, the chipboard, masking tape, and your knife blade. So what you need to do, the chipboard, even though on a strong grip mat, you just want to give it some extra stability using the masking tape. So what I suggest is you put your piece down. Now remember, most materials that come from Cricut are 12 by 12, but chipboard is 11 by 11. So when you're sizing your projects, just make sure that you remember that. So all you want to do is you just want to put it on the mat like normal, and then you'll want to secure down the edges with masking tape. And I like to put it on as close to the edge as I can and then sort of go in the seams, because I don't want to lose any of my chipboard. And plus, when you pull it off, sometimes it does want to take off a little bit of the chipboard, and usually that's not a big deal because you're covering it. But if you were just using the chipboard without anything else on it, just be mindful that sometimes the masking tape will want to pull a little bit. Okay, so now we're ready to load our chipboard into the machine, and just make sure that your star wheels are all the way over to the right when you're cutting heavy chipboard. And that's another reason this material is an 11 by 11, so that you have that extra space over on the other side. The next thing that we need to do is we need to put in our knife blade. Now if you forget, the machine or the system's actually going to tell you, Design Space is going to tell you to put it in, but it's super easy to load. This adaptive tool system. Pop it open, pop it closed, and we're ready. Okay, and our cut is done. And you have the option at this point to check your cut and to actually cut it additional layers if you feel like you need to. But I can tell from this one popping up right here that it's cut all the way through, and we're good. See how fantastic and perfect that cut? Perfect. Okay, so I went ahead and finished up all of our chipboard cuts, and so now we have our cactus and we have our box, and next I want to layer felt on top of the cactus in a couple of different colors, and we're going to need to use our strong grip mat again for the felt, and we're going to be using the rotary blade. So I'm going to load my felt mat, and I just want to be clear that you can actually use the fine point blade that comes with your maker for felt. I just prefer to use the rotary blade, but you can use the fine point if you don't have a rotary blade. See how beautifully that cut? I just think the rotary blade does a better job around little details like this, but again, you can use either. Okay, so let's take a minute and assemble our chipboard box. So we have 2 long sides, this is our bottom piece, and then 2 end pieces, and we're just going to use hot glue to put all of these pieces together and form a rectangle box that is open in the top. Okay, so with my hot glue gun, I've attached both sides and the back. On these sides, I just put a bead of hot glue along the bottom and put it into place, and then on the back sides, I actually put a bead of hot glue along the edges, whoops, and got it placed on the end, and it just forms that perfect, and I'm not very straight today, am I? There we go. Forms that perfect rectangular box. And it dries in seconds. So there you have it. Okay, so now that we've assembled our box, I want to use this kaleidoscope paper from Cricut to wrap the entire outside of the box and actually to do an insert in the center. So I've gone ahead and cut that out on a standard mat with the standard blade that comes with the Cricut. And so this is going to be my bottom piece. I'm not going to glue it down just because it'll just sit right in there perfectly. But I am going to use glue to put down the rest of the pieces. You can use the spray adhesive, but I would only recommend it if you have a really well ventilated area to do in. So I am going to just use good old-fashioned Elmer's glue sticks. And so we will put all of our sides on. So at this point, the little box we made could be for just about anything. It's just a plain box, but we're going to embellish it to look like a cactus or to have a cactus on the front. And you know, the thing is like this piece of the project at this point, you could put a monster truck on it, you could put a unicorn on it, you could put about anything on it, just changing up the paper. But the concept that we're about to do works the same for any themed box that you'd like to make. So we are going to do this darling little cactus, and we've cut out the felt for each layer. So I'm just going to use glue to attach the felt in layers to the chipboard piece, but you could use glue dots or anything like that as well. And then once we have assembled him, let's put him back together really quick. I am then going to embellish him more with a heart. Cute is that? And then this is actually a little flower, and if it was a boy, you know, you'd probably use a different color palette, but you might not want to use the flowers, but this is going to be a little flower set, and I'm going to put the felt on that. So how cute, right? And then once this is assembled, I'm going to attach everything to the front of our box. Okay, my little cactus person is done, and how cute. I am loving how it's turning out. The next thing that we're going to do is put this onto the box. So we're just going to hot glue it to the box. So we're going to put it on the front of the box, and then I'm going to just further embellish it on the side with another little cactus, and it's going to be done. Okay friends, so I hope you enjoyed that craft as much as I did. I hope you enjoy your Valentine box, and I hope you'll use your Cricut Maker and your knife blade. And if you have any questions about either one, please just leave me a comment down below and I'll do my best to answer you. And I hope you will hit that subscribe button and join me for my next video. See you next time.